Good evening, beautiful people. Tonight on our Redefining Beauty Wednesday conversations, I've got an amazing guest. Her name is Mnothowandile, Cele, and she's someone that has been in the beauty pageantry space, but it's not a conventional size. I cannot wait to have this conversation. I'm just going to wait for her to join in. Do join in and enjoy the music as you wait with me.
Voices in my dreams telling me where I should go, saying over here is where I wanna be. This mouth is the me, yeah. I'm saying this is who I am. Diga Mahintonina.
Hi Mnotho, hi Vui. Good evening, good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. I've just accepted my guest and I'm just ready for her to join the conversation. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
I'm fine, thank you.
I can hear an echo. Do you have earphones?
I think so, yeah. Oh no. I forgot that this room of mine is really big.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, as my guest is getting herself ready and hooking herself with some earphones, I'm just going to do a quick intro. Tonight we have Mnothowandile, who is an activist. She's a founder of an amazing movement. She's the founder and the CEO of Clip Rings Foundation, and they do quite amazing work. She's also an ambassador for She Leads Africa. She's also an ambassador for Yokuselo Haven, and she's a gender-based violence survivor. She's a really strong person, and she's got experience in the pageantry world. Although she's not your conventional slim, small-bodied person, and you're gonna hear all about that this evening. Hi, everyone.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm just gonna check if everyone else is on call, guys. Please let me know that from your side if the sound is fine from both my side and Mnotho's side. If there's issues, can someone please indicate to me because I can hear a bit of an echo, but I'm hoping that it's not bad on other people's side. Thanks, Vui. Everything is fine.
Okay. Can I be heard? Am I heard? I can hear everyone. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No, I can. There was just a bit of feedback, but I think it's because of the echo in your room. But if anyone is complaining, then it means we are all okay. So, girl, thanks for making the time. How you doing?
I am good. Thank you very much for this invitation for me to come on to Redefining Beauty South Africa. Something that I've always wanted to do.
Okay. Yeah, Kilebogile saying
Yeah.
the feedback echo. Don't know how we're gonna work around that one. Kilebogile, is it like a bad sound? Is it interfering with how you're hearing the audio, or can we go ahead and continue? Because maybe I should also get earphones. I don't know. Hi, Kamo. Thanks for joining. Okay. In the meantime, whilst everyone is telling me about the sound audios, let's just get right into it, girl. How are you doing? How's lockdown? Are you firstly on lockdown? Are you on lockdown?
I feel like I've been on lockdown since level 5, but from level 3, I had been back on work, saving the world like I always do. So I think I just had 2 or 3 months of lockdown.
Okay. So, but now you are enticing people. When you talk about saving the world, just give people a 30-second brief of what do you mean when you say you're saving the world?
Okay, so when I technically say by saving the world, it means that I'm trying to do my part in bringing the change that I want to see in the world. So as you have mentioned earlier, I am an ambassador for 2 organizations, one for a continental organization called She Leads Africa, and the second one is me being a goodwill ambassador for the Cele Haven, which is technically a safe space for abused women and children. So that is what I do.
Yeah, no, you literally do save the world. You do. But
Thank
now,
you.
okay, you were on lockdown 2 to 3 months, so you back to work now, full time. But your lockdown,
Yes.
I know your lockdown was not really smooth sailing because you had contracted the COVID-19 virus. Can you share anything about that?
Yeah, it was. I feel like that space in my life was very scary. Like, I remember I went into there because 2 of my colleagues at work tested positive for corona. And then immediately when we found that out, we needed to go and test. And as soon as you test, you need to go into isolation. So while I was in isolation, I got my results that said you positive. So instead of me staying 14 days, I think, in hospital, I stayed for 21, something close to 3 weeks. So it was the longest day. Actually, sorry, it was the longest month of my life because I really thought there were moments when you actually think I might not make it. But I was always positive. I always kept my head up and I said, you know what? I am going to beat this like I've beaten everything else that I've gone through in my life. This is just something that I need to do and I'm going to get over it. And I did.
Okay, so but now you speak about isolation first, and then after contracting the virus, you were was it a different facility? So were you isolating in hospital, or I don't understand.
I was isolating in hospital because I didn't want to make my parents contract the actual virus. Because since they are elders, and they are elderly, I did not want them to have a chance of contracting it. So as soon as I got that information, my workplace, organized a place for me to go, and I went there.
Okay. I'm very curious about this because I've heard a number of people's experiences around COVID, contracting it, handling it. Some people were, at home. But so when it comes to facilities or in hospital, what is that like? Are you like in a room on your own? Are you in a facility where you can interact with people? And after you contracted and you're now positive, just paint a picture for us before we get into the beauty and positivity discussion.
Okay, if I can paint a picture, I feel like I was in a very lonely prison cell. And I will say that because I was rather fortunate enough to go to a private facility for my treatment of COVID-19. So for my experience with isolation and treatment, it was it was like you were in a prison cell, because I remember my room had a bed, it had a shelf, it had a table with a chair, it had a basin and a vanity case, it had a shower and a toilet, but all of that was like right within my immediate, so it was like I was staying in my own bachelor for the duration of my isolation. And I was rather fortunate with that, because I do know that some other people, or rather I've seen, when other people are going through treatment or isolation, that it's kind of like a ward-like place. It's like thousands of beds or tens of beds following each other, no privacy. I feel like the only time I only interacted with people was when the doctors or the nurses came and did their rounds. That was the only human interaction I had, unless if I was talking to people over social media platforms.
Okay. Did you feel lonely, or were you just like still connected to the world through social media?
I think that I used that time to really de-stress and refocus myself, because when you're always busy, I got so used to being busy that I kind of needed that as an R&R, time to like calm down, gather myself towards myself, and actually reconnect with myself and who I am. And I actually came out a better person after treatment, because then I was like, okay, you know what? You only live once. So now let's do everything that we thought that we'd never do.
Okay.
And I promised myself that.
All right. No, I get that. Thank you for sharing that story. Let's get into the business of things. You are redefining beauty. You know that the movement is about self-love. The movement is about body positivity. We have these wonderful conversations around, the different things we experience. So you have experience in beauty pageantry. So I'm curious to know what you define as beauty. What is your definition of beauty?
My definition of beauty is a woman that has elegance, sophistication, and a little bit of spice. That for me is beauty, because we are so wrapped up in what beauty is on the physical sense that we tend to not actually look inside the person, what that person is. So how beautiful are you in the inside? So because I come from a background that is very much physically, it's very much about the physical and how you look like. Do you look like what they deem beautiful? I always look in the inside, and I find myself being attracted by the most unattractive people purely because their souls are beautiful. So for me, my definition of beauty is if a woman has got a good mixture of sophistication, elegance, class, and a bit of, I can say ratchet, I guess, and a little bit of ratchet, some spice there. That for me is beautiful. And a woman that can stand for herself, stands for what she believes in, and really works hard to get herself in a better space. For me, that is absolutely beautiful.
Your definition is still a little bit high level, because I'm like, sophistication. What is sophistication? But does sophistication mean high heels? Does sophistication mean you speak with a low tone? So, like, yeah, it's still quite bold.
Okay, let me just explain the sophistication part because I guess that's the high level part of this whole definition.
Yeah.
Sophistication for me is, you know, when you step into a room, your presence is felt, but you have said no word.
Okay.
That for me, like when you command the presence of people, that for me is sophistication. You can do that whether you're wearing a tight dress and heels, you can do that in a power suit, you can do that wearing tracksuits and slippers, really, with your hair
How?
up like this.
Yeah,
I
but
think
how?
everything comes from the inside. If you believe it, you will actually end up living it. Because I actually have this whole mantra that I live on. If you look good, you feel good, and you ultimately do good. So every day in the morning, it's me, brows on fleek, makeup on point, contours, everything. Even if I'm wearing jeans and a t-shirt and slip-ons, I always need to look good because I know if I feel good, I look good, I will do good. Because you can't look good and do bad. That,
Okay, 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 okay. But you know, when you speak about presence felt and all of that, I'm tempted to for us to talk about that, to say, how do you attain that? How do people attain that? You know, you get into a room and your presence is felt. Is it a belief thing? Is it an aura thing? Is it an energy thing? What do you think it is? How do if someone said, please train me, I want to be that woman that gets into a room and my presence is just felt.
okay, how would I teach someone? Okay, that's actually funny because I know how to teach people how to do that. So the first step in commanding presence is your affirmation. So every day in the morning, you will wake up and go, I'm a badass.
Okay.
And like as soon as you tell yourself, "Oh, you look beautiful," whatever affirmation that you wanna work on, you can do that. So I'm beautiful, I'm enough, I'm worthy. You know, I am good enough. Those are the affirmations that I usually wake up with. Even on my lowest, I will wake up and affirm myself that this is, this is who I am, and I will live according to that.
Okay.
So
Affirmation.
yes, so the first step is affirmation. And the second step is for you to believe it. Because as much as you can talk about something, if you do not believe it as for yourself, you are wasting your time, basically. That's the honest truth, excuse me. That's the honest truth. So you affirm yourself, you believe in yourself, and then you end up doing what you affirm. So if you are worthy, you will do things that will be worthwhile. Learning a new skill is a new thing, is one of the things. Taking up a hobby that will eventually pay the bills. That's what I always say. Always take up a hobby that will pay the bills. Figuring out who you are, going back.
Oh, I don't know if it's just on my side, but I think she's got network problems. Hi Kumo, I see that you also say you love affirmations. Palisa is saying, oh, so true. I'm not sure what's happening, and so I think she's having technical problems. She's having technical problems. We're just going to wait for her a bit and see that she's going to join us. For those that have joined late, my guest today is Mnothowandile Cele. She's particularly our guest today because she's got experience in the beauty pageantry space, and she entered beauty pageants as someone that's not even slim. She's tall, she's bigger boned, she's dark skinned, and she wasn't previously having hair that's straight and all of that. So everything about her was pretty much things that are not necessarily what is highlighted in beauty pageantry spaces. But she went into the space as an activist to prove that you can be part of beauty pageants even though you do not fall into the category or the boxed or the box that is prescribed by people that do modeling. Her line just cut off, and I'm just going to be accepting her again. Please give me a moment to see what's happened on her side. I hope it's not load shedding, because a lot of people in the country are going through load shedding. Hi, Nikki. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My guest's network broke off, and I haven't been able to reach her, and she hasn't joined. I'm guessing there's load shedding where she is, because yeah, everything load shedding. I think we are on stage 4 of load shedding for most parts of the country. Oh, network problems. Thank you for staying online, ladies, and I don't see if there's any gents. If you've got any questions, hit me up. Hi, Mnotho. Thanks for joining us again. I'm going to accept you again. Hi, what happened there? Hi. What happened?
I have no idea what happened. That's why I actually ended up laughing. I like laughing when I'm in weird situations, which is a bad thing, but for me, it keeps the stress levels down.
Okay. All right. No, thanks that you were able to rejoin.
I don't know what happened.
Let's just hit the ground running, because we're going to be running out of time, right?
Yeah, very.
I wonder why I can hear that on your side there is feedback. I can hear myself.
You can hear yourself. Well, that's awkward because I'm using my earphones. There shouldn't be any feedback echo. I think it's a network problem, probably.
Okay, it's fine, but nobody else is complaining. It's just me. It's just me with the sound.
Yeah, because my sound is pretty clear.
Okay.
C'est la vie.
All right, that's fine. Let's get to it. Let's talk body positivity. I want you to share a little bit about your journey in beauty pageantry. because you must take me back. When did you start, and why did you start?
Okay, so let me take you back. I'll take you back to when I was, I think, in grade, was it 3 or 5? Somewhere in primary school. Growing up, I had a sister who looked like, I had an older sister who looked like Tyra Banks back in her Sports Illustrated days. So if I say Tyra Banks in those days, you know what I mean, like long legs, long limbs, long neck, beautiful big boobs, flat tummy, you know, and I literally looked the complete opposite of what my sister looked like. So I vowed to myself to say, you know what, I am going to define my own beauty. I don't care who's going to join into the ride, but I'm doing this for me. And so I grew up with that mentality of trying to be positive, you know, and having a very positive body image as well. Because children in primary school and high school could be very, very mean. I had a nickname from primary and high school called Amoeba. And if anybody knows what amoeba is, it's literally a shapeless organism. So that was my nickname in primary school. So I think at the back of my mind, I did it also for selfish reasons to say, I want to show you what this amoeba can be about. So I didn't want to be known as the girl that was smart. I wanted to be known as well as the girl who was pretty and smart. So I had to work on that. Come matric, I lost all the baby weight. And then I started looking and shaping up, you know, and being thick. And I was like, I like this body. Okay, we can work with this. And how I think I tripped into pageantry really by mistake, because I had a really big growth spout. And someone from Select Models, it was an agency based in Rosebank, spotted me walking down and he was like, oh my God, you are what we are looking for. Do you not want to be part of our agency? And I was like, okay, cool, we can do that. What does that entail? Because I always thought that, you know, models, you kind of need to do this and you need to starve yourself and you do all of that. And I think back then, plus size modeling was something that was still being ventured into. It was not yet a very popular it was not a very popular concept like it is now. You know, it wasn't very welcoming, especially back then.
Talk to me about age. As you're telling the story, talk about age. What's your age like?
Okay, so I think I was
when you talk about plus size modeling, what weight are you talking about?
Okay, so that's true. Okay, so I think I was 17 actually at the time when I was doing my matric, and trying to figure out my weight, because I'm pretty tall and my bone mass really is very heavy. Like majority of my weight actually is bone mass. So I think back then I was a size 38.
Okay.
So I was a 38. And I'm an hourglass. I don't know if people understand if I say a body shape. Like I'm an hourglass. I've got a very big bottom, small waist, small boobs, right? And it's still deemed as the ideal body shape for women, and I don't understand how, you know. But anyway, each to his own. So at around 17, I was discovered by a white man at Select Models. Okay. Then I became part of their team. And then, you know, you'd start small. So you do promotions, you do events, you dress up and look all good. And it always irked me that I was always the chubbier chick in the group. And by essence of me saying chubbier, I mean everyone's dress sizes was 34, 32, 30. And then here along comes Wandi with the 36, 38 size dress. And he always, I think that he actually assisted me in my self-confidence as well, because he said, if you're beautiful and the client picked you, you are good enough to be here. So as much as they are here because they look like that, your space here, you know, is also appreciated. So you were chosen to be here. Nobody's doing you a favor.
So he
And I
affirmed
took,
you in essence.
he affirmed me. So from the outside looking in, you affirm yourself from the inside going out. Now from the outside going in, he was affirming my affirmations as well. So I was like, okay, I'm good enough. I'm worthy. I'm here. We started doing that, and then I entered in 2014. I entered my first pageant ever, called the Gauteng Youth Ambassador for 2014. And then, excuse me, when I entered it, I loved the whole pageant sisterhood that was there, because then I had a bunch of sisters there and we'd have fun. And yes, we are here because of the pageant and we are competing, but we'd always try to be, better versions of ourselves at the end. That did not fall through, which is fine by me. So then in 2014 and 2015, I gathered enough strength, I guess, to enter the Miss Earth South Africa pageant.
Okay.
So Miss Earth South Africa is like your Miss South Africa, except that it's more on the eco-friendly
Yeah, I've heard of
version of Miss South Africa. Yes. So I entered it, and again, I was the darkest, chubbiest chick in the crew. And I was
What
like,
did that feel like?
okay. Well, for me, I was just like, if I applied and I still got shortlisted.
Okay, sure.
Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
it's frozen for a bit. It's okay.
Okay. The frame is frozen. Can
It's
you hear
fine
me?
now on my side.
Oscar?
I can hear you. Oh, we're having such bad network problems tonight. Mm. Um, I don't know. Mnotho is having that if I'm not able to hear her, she is nobody else on the call is hearing her, and there it goes. It's just dropped off. And we literally only have 10 minutes to this conversation. Hi, Lindy. Taste like summer. I'll ask you a question if she's able to rejoin about finishing school. Kumo, your question is on what? Is elegance exclusive to aesthetics? Oh, I wonder. That's also my question that I was gonna ask her, or where I was wanting to ask her, because most of the time when we speak of elegance, we speak of aesthetics. We speak of how people are dressed, how people, look, so to speak. So, but yeah, I'm curious to know, guys, anyone on the call? Is elegance exclusive to aesthetics? Nikki is laughing at us. Nikki, don't laugh. Wait till these network problems are not a thing, man. But anyway, if anyone's got questions, Lindy, I know you're joining us for the very first time. If you've got questions for me, if you want to know more about this movement, shout, girl, because our guest has just suddenly dropped off. She's got hectic, serious networking problems. Hi, Paul. Thank you for joining. I think we're going to end this conversation before my guest jumps back on, because I'm looking at the time. Hey, Kumo, what's my definition of beauty? I'm still formulating it. My definition of beauty changes frequently, because I'm of a stance that beauty is not only subjective, but beauty is also objective, you know. When we talk about beauty, we can look at the same thing and decide that it's beautiful, but also beauty is filtered haholo through preferences. It's on different days where I feel that different things are beautiful. So for me, beauty is a concept. Beauty is an art. Beauty is an inward thing that is portrayed outwardly. If I'm allowed to, you know, if I'm forced to come up with a definition, that's what I would say beauty is. But really, beauty is self-representation. So beauty is, you know, it could literally be how you think, how you feel, and how you present yourself to the world. So that's beauty for me. It's fluid. Beauty is like art. When we look at art, we don't see the same thing. So that's beauty for me. It's not just a feeling, it's a belief, it's a thought. It's yeah, that's me. Mnotho is back. But we literally have 10 minutes. Let me see if she'll be able to rejoin. And then we can finish this conversation. Yep. We have problems. We have problems.
I'm back.
Welcome back. We've got 10 minutes, so we have to sort of wrap up. We sort of, yeah. You have to summarize your story around pageantry. You were still talking about your journey and what it felt like to be the different one, because you were slightly bigger than every other girl, and you were darker than every girl. So yeah, follow on that story, and then tell me why did you insist on being different? And you know, because that space, I think that space is very fickle, you know. So for you to be the one that stands out like a sore thumb, why did you put yourself through that?
Wow. Okay. I don't even know where to start, but let me just start with my pageantry and what it is that I did. My background rather with pageantry. So as soon as in 2015, it was Miss Earth South Africa. 2016 was Miss South Africa. Took a break in 2017, and then in 2018, I joined the Miss Eagle South Africa pageant in 2018. So, how it felt to be a sore thumb. I always thought that it's never about me. It's about what are they trying to teach the beauty world. Because the beauty world, especially in pageantry, they have a certain stereotype of what a beauty queen is supposed to look like. And of course, I was also doing it for all the other girls, you know, who grew up with hips and who are dark skinned, who have curly hair, to say, look where I am now, you can also get here. So it's rather not about who's the most beautiful in the room. It's about who defines. I think Lindy West said it perfectly. Who defines the word perfection better, and what the term beauty queen is supposed to look like. That is why in 2019, when Sasha Olivia won the Miss Earth South Africa, I was literally like one of the loudest people that was cheering there, because I was like, this is huge. If South Africa can actually have the first plus size Miss South Africa, that is beautiful. It means that all the girls now, whether you colored, you black, you white, you can actually go into Miss South Africa as you are and come out a queen, you know. And Sasha is the first plus size model to actually make it to the queen. A lot of people got filtered out at the either in the top 33, top 16, or in the final 12. But for her to actually win queen, for me, it was like, yes, you're actually taking a stand for all the girls. You're taking a stand for all the big girls. So yes, and why I actually chose this, because I mean, really, there is a certain stereotype of beauty that the world has. You know, and it's widely Eurocentric. Slim nose, you know, defined cheekbones, long face, long black hair, skinny body, long legs, long limbs, long neck. But what about those who have all of the characteristics of Eurocentric, except that they have African curves? So what
Yeah.
about us? Are we not beautiful? You know, so I think for me, it was really about breaking down those barriers, breaking down the stereotypes to say, you are allowed to have that ass and you are allowed to have those, you are allowed to have those curves. You are not, don't feel bad because you are more curvier than the next girl. Embrace it, because then if you embrace your beauty, then the world will also embrace you.
Yeah. But
And
was
that's
it
how it
was it
works.
was it as easy as you're making it seem? Because that
No,
industry to me seems so cutthroat.
no. No, um, it's not as easy. It's really not as easy as I put it. There were a lot of nights when I would spend crying and, you know, always second guessing myself. And it's very difficult as well if you do not have a very strong emotional support system. So for me, during my pageantry days, my pageant coach and my pageant sisters literally were my biggest role models.
Mm.
And a lady by the name of Ukidiboni Mkabela as well, she was she played a very big part in me and my pageantry, because she would always, literally always tell me, you're beautiful, you're enough, you're good enough, you know. And I don't want you to miss out on opportunities because you think that you're not good enough. Just do it and we'll see, you know, take that risk.
Mm.
So it really is not as easy. You know, you obviously, you reflect back, you look back now, and you're sitting there thinking, yeah, no, there are some certain things that I did there. But then when at the actual time, during those periods, I was literally like shaking every day. Especially when you're notified, oh no, you made the top 33. Like, what, me? No, there's a mistake somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now, have you
So
left that industry? Are you no longer entering pageants? Have you retired from being pageant participant?
I think for now, I've actually retired the pageantry world, simply because I have made the mark that I wanted to make, which is fine, you know. So now I'm transitioning more into what I wanted to do with my life. So I've always wanted to change people's lives, and I touched people's lives with pageantry, and now I'm touching them more with what I'm doing, specifically with my foundation and the type of the type of work that I'm doing, you know, in terms of the legal side now of things. So, yeah, no, I've retired pageantry, but I always, you know, I always like teach girls, no, you know, stand up straight, and because those are the type of things that you can never. It's like skills that are embedded into your brain forever. You know, stand up straight. You know, tummy in. Even when I'm tired, I can't slouch. Even when I'm sitting, I can't slouch because I literally feel like my posture is wrong, and I can hear my pageant girls going, straight shoulders, straight
Okay.
shoulders. So,
Let
yeah.
before we wrap it up, let me just go through a couple of comments and see if there's questions. Nikki was saying profound with her hands up. Thanks, Nikki. Uvuyi is complaining about the echo. I'm gonna fix it next time. I'm so sorry. Lindy was saying, I've never struggled with being or feeling beautiful, but rather so-called perfection, especially after having kids.
Kids.
I'm curious to know, to hear your story, Lindy, because I know you've always been beautiful. I remember the first time I came to Grace Bible Church and I thought, wow, this girl is beautiful. So, of course, you never struggled with being beautiful. But I'd like to hear what changed and what was deemed as perfection. Uvuyi is saying nothing more beautiful than being comfortable in oneself, regardless of how you look. Juliet Cele saying, so true. Beauty comes in different shades. Okay, here's an interesting question. Kuma is asking. Thank you for asking it again because she had asked when you dropped off. Is elegance exclusive to aesthetics?
For me, I would say no. You can be in gray sweats and still be elegant. Like I said earlier, before I got cut off, I think the first time.
Mm.
The aesthetics is something that comes now. It's a term that came up, I think, late 2018, early 2019, transitioning into 2020. But Tina, I'm an old school. Besisibiza ngestayela, especially mawukhulele like eSoweto, mawunestayela or if umama kunestayela, you had
Okay.
aesthetics back in the days, and when you were aesthetically pleasing back in the days, you were stylish and you were elegant. So elegance does not necessarily mean that you have to have the aesthetics. You can push whatever you want to push. Just make sure that what you're pushing is you.
Yeah.
Never go away from being yourself. Never conform. I always say that. Never conform.
Yeah. I agree. I also agree with what Juliet is saying when she says beauty comes in different shades. And because this is the premise of this movement. I mean, in this movement, we want to celebrate people in their various shapes, various skin tones, various shades, heights, and body types. This movement is literally very inclusive. We're not just celebrating the Tyra Banks of the world, and we're not only celebrating this Stephanie Yeboah on the other side of plus size. We are saying every woman is beautiful. Whatever size you are welcome here. This is a platform for all women, and I personally want to hear everyone's story, and this platform is exactly for that. So before I close it off and before Instagram cuts off, I want you to tell me what's the one thing that you want to teach every woman you come across or you interact with.
The one thing that I will teach women, or that I always teach women, and I think my friends can testify to this, is the fact that I always tell them that you're enough. You're worthy and you're beautiful. I always tell them that. Even if they are wearing sweatpants with tears running down their faces, snot going down their nose, I just tell them, girl, look, you look good today. Today you look good. So I always try to cheer people up, and if I do that, I feel like I've done my good part for the day. You're enough, you're good enough, and you're worthy. Like, that is what I would like, and I don't want to teach women that. I want to instill that in women,
Yeah.
that you're enough, you're good enough, and you're worthy, you know. And
Yeah.
sometimes we don't believe it, sometimes we do, but majority of the times, if you do believe it, it will end up being something that's your everyday life. Then you don't need to wake up and affirm yourself. You'll already been affirmed.
Yeah. I want to end it on that wonderful note and say to every lady that's joined and that's still on the call, you are enough and you are good enough. Thank you for joining us this evening. Thank you for taking the time to plug in and to hear what we are busy doing here at Redefining Beauty SA. Mnotho, thank you for your time. Thank you for the patience, to keep rejoining even when the network was very problematic.
And thank you very much for your invitation, Oskamu. I must say that I'm honored. And I hope that my words have touched a lot of people. And yeah, they must never forget that we are redefining beauty in South Africa.
Hey. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Have a
very
lovely
much.
evening. See you next week, same time, same place, 7 p.m. Redefining Beauty Conversations. Please join us.
Bye.
Night.
Mwah.